Good morning, my ranked demons. Today I'm going to be going over Ascent, the entire experience. If you're getting mollied and smoked at the start and you guys can't push, if you're dying from cat, if you're getting pushed from mid every round, or if you're just not sure exactly what you're doing wrong, this video will do a great job explaining that. I'm an Immortal 3 coach for 200 students just like you, and we're going to be going over concepts and tips for you to implement today. I hope you enjoy. We're going to go over attacking side first. So this is going to be like an entire map guide. Will really help with how you approach this map when you play it. Remember, each map in the game is different and has its own unique gimmick, because remember, the maps will always stay the same. So the more you can learn the map, how people play on that map, the better off you'll be. And you'll see these squares. There's the red square, yellow square, and blue square. You can kind of assume what this is. So if we're attacking, we're going to be in the blue area. The enemy's going to be in the red area. And then the yellow area is kind of like the danger zone, but also like the first area of contact. So if the round just starts, you want to be careful that someone's in this area. Like, they could go in this corner and you could be here and you wouldn't know. And this is the first thing that people learn when they play this map, is this little rat corner here. That other first contact is this angle here. And higher ranks, people even check like little off angles like here. And this is also why stuff like util is really important here. So you see a lot of teams doing something like an omen flash that goes through here. The arena flash goes here. Any piece of utility is usually used to clear this first area. And this is the thing, right? We should, if we're going to go fast, if we're going to do a take like this, we're going to try to take this first area with some piece of util. So once you get this yellow area, you know the enemies now has to be in this red area. And now you think about the next possible spot. So it's really helpful when you're playing maps to start to segment different areas. Like, we get this yellow area, now this yellow area is clear. This Raze is pushed back sight somewhere. And she can be anywhere in this red area without like just taking raw gunfights. Remember, this is a util based game, so how can you avoid this? This is why people smoke off market and CT, because it just gives less angles for you to worry about. You can focus on other ones. This is why like Sova drones out, right? He clears left, he clears inside boat, he clears logs, he clears this right, he can even clear stairs. So there's a lot of clearing that can be done of util. Like, if your team spots a Phoenix hiding in this corner, he is dead. There is so much pressure on him now that you have this piece of intel. Without using info here, you guys could just be walking out and then he just shoots one of your teammates, gets a free kill, and then maybe you get the trade after. So once a piece of util is used, you want to think about like what exactly did that clear and what's not covered. And this lanes player is the only one that's not really spotted by the dart. I do these videos live, so be sure to stop by and ask any questions. And if you're serious about improving, join over 200 students just like you by clicking the link in the description and booking a lesson to get a better understanding of your game today. So we can just do like a flash to the left here. And then now we've kind of covered all this area with util. There's another thing you want to consider too, which is like how many players have you spotted. So if you kill this Phoenix and you come out sight and you don't see anyone, as you clear stairs, as you clear all this close, as you clear lane, you clear sight, there's a really good chance this person's going to be back sight. I would always consider the stuff that hasn't been cleared. If you don't have info in an area, always assume someone's there, because a lot of times players get away with plays like this because we just don't consider the possibility, and then that can really change the outcome of the round. Who's the most ratty character? Probably Reyna. So we're going to go over the spots that Reyna can be a rat in. Backside, we mentioned this one. There's another one here, another one here I mentioned. There's also stairs. You can rat stairs. Look at all these little spots that they can hide in that can actually have like insane value if you're not cleared. This is why you see a lot of low elos going for ratty plays. They're consistently getting results, and they don't have to rely on like actually taking like a fair fight. They take this fight because they always have the advantage, because these spots aren't checked. All these rat spots that I just mentioned, just flip around. Just flip around and be like, oh, okay, I'll use these spots, because if they're not going to clear them, I can test these out now. On A, it's the same exact thing. So we spawn in this area, the barriers drop. This blue area is very safe. The first point of contact is going to be this yellow area. A Reyna flash here, a fade dog going through here. Sometimes people just jump spot this corner just to get the intel if someone's holding that angle. Like, if we don't instantly contest this area with util or like a person, then we're worried about the winding. I had a diamond fade who was having trouble clearing that danger area and being considered like those other sites. And this is why I decided to do this. I want to do that eye off this start and instead do a dog, because if you guys don't get early control, or if your team can't take the area that your eye is going to clear, it kind of loses a lot of value. So there's the dog clearing the yellow area, pushes the arena back, and then he does the eye right after, clears a close angle, and puts pressure. And that gave him intel that there was actually a player here. So this is like a really aggro. He just got so much info for his team, and we're like 10 seconds in. Same thing, once you get this space, now you're kind of sectioning off the rest of the site. So yellow area is clear. Now we're looking at the red area, and also we always see a tree smoke. Honestly, a lot of players just avoid this heaven smoke. They just don't do it, or you use some other piece of utility here. If you've watched this far, you might want to consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. They do this like deep smoke here. So you don't want to do this smoke because people like Phoenix, it allows them to get their intel more deep. Like Phoenix could chuck a flash out this smoke and just jump out with it. They could peek this side here, spray, and then get back in the cover really easily. With this, it's kind of like one single angle that your teammates are all really aware of. There could be 4 people in the smoke, and it's a lot less dangerous because they still have to go at that same straight line. While this one, you could like 2 could hop outside, 2 could peek here, and now it's way scary. So yeah, these are usually the default smokes. Now we're trying to segment the rest of the site. And one really good way to do this is just think about the rad spots. When we push out site, what spots do we not really have info on? What spots could they still be hiding? So this is also why using some sort of util can really help here. Like all you need here, quite literally the silver drone clears every single one of these spots except hell and heaven. Sometimes doing an eye, like I like to do this eye right here, and that spots everyone here. And even if we don't have a smoke market, I can still kind of seek through. So this is the first area. This is the second area, dice in that box, which I barely see people in Paleo, but it's a good spot. And then it's heaven, hell. So there's like 4 different spots you want to make sure you're clear, and your pathing should follow this. So let's take our blue little line here. When people approach this site, let's say this fade eye is here, it clears all of close. They usually swing left here, because if you swing right, you're more likely to get isolated by the heaven player. Like it's a lot easier for them to isolate someone who's like here and then duck back and swing than it is to him to isolate someone out here, because he just has his swing wider. If you go right, you're gonna have a greater chance of not getting traded. You want to be really careful of those rad spots. You want to make sure you clear hell. It's just like the back site over on B. Like you always want to make sure this spot is clear, just like you always want to make sure hell is cleared. A lot of people do it, it's like they don't think. Yes, maybe they don't think, or maybe they forget, maybe they just don't know. That's why I say, what can you do there? Could you get them to use their util? Like if you have a fade on your team, could you ask her to do it? Okay, let's talk about mid. So mid is really important for Ascent because both A and B are very narrow hallways. The simplest way to think of this is like if a Raze chucks a nade here, or if she chucks a nade here at the start of the round, it can get a ton of value. It's something like an omen smoke, which I know every single player here has experienced a smoke being dropped down here and your entire push is stopped and you can't do anything. Or something like a molly comes out. This happens way too much, and it just, you guys are 5-manning spots when they have someone that can stop your push instantly. Get rid of everything we just talked about. Like you can clear this yellow area and that's perfect, but if they chuck a smoke down or they chuck a molly down, your push is pretty much stopped. So this is why you want to try exploring mid more, and also because you want to have more options. You don't want to like leave mid uncontested, and if you get smoked here, like over on B, this yellow player could just walk down mid and come behind you as you're waiting here, and now you're pinched from both sides and your map control is limited only to this area. So having that extra map control can be really helpful. So when you're taking mid, there's 2 things to consider, and also 2 things you'll probably see is this cat smoke and this bottom mid smoke. Sometimes you see this smoke, so you can deal with a player that's close mid here. Most commonly you see this cat smoke because this is like the #1 place people die. And this is the attacking side on the left. I want you to look and see how pink is death, green is kills, how pink the attacking side is for this early peeker. How often does this player die here? And look over defense, how often does this player peek in there get the kill? You do not want to have this happen to you every single round. The next thing I would pay attention to, just trying to like push people back. A lot of map control is just trying to push people back or like find the player that's playing there. I'm gonna go over defaults so generally that you could apply it to every map. So there's always 5 players on the other team, and how they lay out the round is always really simple. So we look at all these areas that we're kind of worried about in contesting. There's usually 1 player for each of these spots. There's usually 1 player here, 1 player here, 1 player here, and 1 player here. And then you notice that's only 4. There's usually 1 person floating somewhere. If you're smoking cat, you should always expect this mid player to be somewhere here, because if you deny info here, this mid player should try to get info on mid. So on attack, your whole goal is to get map control to slowly push back the defenders or find where they are, so you can take over site or take over the space and put them in really hard spots. So when going mid, you want to try to use more util to force them back, or you want to take stuff together. So it's good to also go mid because you at least keep some map control. You can send 4 people B main and just have a chamber or someone like him lurk over at A, just so you guys still have the intel here. So if B doesn't work out, you can still come back in this spot. And if someone decides to go for this push through mid, then he can kill them and you can play off that because you guys have the advantage there. So in lower elos, I would also recommend not 5-manning with your team every time. On defense, it's pretty much the same thing. Everything we talked about is the same, but just think about it from a defender's perspective. So by finding out where they are like early on, or removing certain possibilities, like if someone boombots a main, for example, and pushes up here, you guys can completely rule out this side of the map, and then they can push through mid and they can rule out this side of the map. And now you know it has to be B, and there could be 4 people in B when they push up. And you'll see this happen all the time in pro matches too. And remember, their goal is to try to clear these areas, so you should expect like the stuff they use. So we should expect maybe like a Sova drone here to come out. This is going to be something that applies to every map. I'm going to mention it. Know the type of util you're facing and how that util is used. This Sova dart here is so common. It's so common for them to use some initiator to like a drone when they're coming out B. Like you can just be pre-aiming this spot with a dart or have a teammate aim for it, and you break that initiator until they can't clear all those rat spots, and then that's where you can get away with things like that. I see it way too many times where a B player like rotates towards A and doesn't consider them being tree at all, even though they have no intel. Go in heaven here and someone pushes their tree and shoots them on this side. Same thing if you don't have intel in a spot. If this area is all open, you don't know anything here, you want to be considerate of this area. Ascent is a very ratty spot. There's a lot of good wallbangs that you can do. You can actually wallbang through this wall here and hit like dice, or you can hit gen. After listening to me talk about this, or after watching this, if you want to further expand or like implement this knowledge, either try to play on Ascent and see if you can get it, or just watch a high level player mess with this map and just try to think about these terms, because you will see it is a very, very common thing, and you will see how exactly people use util and such to prepare for it, and then that will help you maybe be like, okay, I'll try that in my next game.